After more than 40,000 fans last night for the on-deck series game against the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Phillies are expecting another large crowd today. It's the final tune-up before the start of the 2011 season. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, along with Chris Wheeler. Sarge will be along a little later on, and Scott Fransky will join us today as he will be going throughout the crowd. A lot of festive things going on here at Citizens Bank Park. All right, one more game left, and it's this afternoon. And strangely, Charlie Emanuel's lineup today, Wheels, looks an awful lot like what we might see on Friday as we wrap up another spring training.
Yeah, it could be, Tom. We'll get into that in a while because it does appear what Charlie's doing here this afternoon with some of the moves they made earlier today, that it could be his starting lineup. But as you said, the final spring training game, everybody's ready to get started. The players especially have had enough. And here are some of the guys that have had really good springs. Ben Francisco won the right field job. Ross Glode, he can just swing the bat. This guy's a very valuable player. Shane Victorino, right now at the top of the order. Roy Halladay, he was almost unhittable. And Joe Blanton did a really good job. He, of course, will be the Phillies' fifth starter. Now, Cole Hamels' numbers were not good this spring. But they felt that he had a bullpen session the other day that was just tremendous, and they really look forward to him pitching well here this afternoon. Last year at the end of the season in September against the Atlanta Braves in a big game, he just dominated, pitched 8 really strong innings in games that the Phillies needed to get rid of those Braves and win the division, and Hamels stepped up. He had a tremendous season last year overall. Maybe it didn't show us statistically, but they didn't score a whole lot of runs for him. This guy was really, really good, especially after he added the cutter. He's fine right now health-wise. He's just been kind of in the middle of the plate in these exhibition games. They think he may be out of there today.
Well, he'll probably throw 3 innings today, then Joe Blanton will pick up. In that game you just saw against the Atlanta Braves, he went 8 innings, and Brad Lidge closed things out for the Phillies that night. Brad will not be closing things out for the Phillies for quite some time.
Well, he's been on the disabled list before with the Phillies. He has not been able to start the season 3 out of the 4 years that he's been here, and he's always been able to come back and have, well, look what he did in 2008. He came back in the 6th game, and the rest is history. Opening day in 2009 he was here, but then last year, the 22nd game, he still had 27 saves, and this year out 3 to 6 weeks with that shoulder problem. We'll just have to wait and see when he does get back. But hopefully he'll get back and be a very, very effective late-inning guy for the Phillies.
Yeah, Brad had mentioned today that he's hoping to be back by the end of May, which is a good sign that he will not need that shoulder operated on before he comes back here in 2011. So, again, it's the final spring training game from Philadelphia this afternoon. It'll be Cole Hamels for the Phillies. He'll be opposed by Charlie Morton, who has earned a spot in the Pirates rotation. Well, everybody's getting ready for the start of the regular season. Roy Oswalt pitched last night, got his running in this morning. The first pitch when we return. Phillies baseball. Back at Citizens Bank Park, it's day 2 of this on-deck series between the Phillies and the Pittsburgh Pirates. You see the Phillies taking the field behind Cole Hamels, and then an off day tomorrow, and then opening day on Friday. So really one last chance for the Phillies to wrap up their spring training schedule. Let's take a look at the Pirates starting lineup for today, and it's very close to what Clint Hurdle will have as his opening day lineup. Leading it off in left field is Jose Tabata. Second baseman Neil Walker bats second. Andrew McCutchen hits third, followed by Lyle Overbay, the first baseman. Matt Diaz is in right field. He'll hit fifth. Pedro Alvarez went a good month of September last year for the Pirates. He'll bat sixth. Jason Jaramillo, that may be the one change for opening day. He'll hit seventh. Ronnie Cedeno bats eighth. And batting ninth and pitching is Charlie Morton. And they'll face Phillies left-hander Cole Hamels, who will probably be out there wheels for maybe 3 innings this afternoon.
Yeah, his numbers aren't great in spring training, obviously. You see there was 6.75 earned run average. But, you know, his strikeouts are good. One thing about him is he's healthy, and that's the main thing. 2 years ago, he was not healthy at the start of the season, and he struggled last year healthy the whole year. They felt that in a bullpen session the other day, they found something in his delivery. Rich Doobie was telling us about it, and he was really happy with the way he threw his bullpen. Now, you know, it's different when guys get bats in their hands and all of a sudden you're pitching in competition. But they think he's going to be just fine, and if he's healthy, he'll be just fine.
Well, the big news today, the Phillies have released Luis Castillo. So his audition as the possible replacement for Chase Utley until Chase came off the disabled list has come to a close. Charlie Manuel said it really wasn't anything that he did wrong. It's just that they felt that the guys they already had on their roster, like Wilson Valdez, who's out there playing second base today, were, you know, what they could use as the season gets underway.
Yeah, and it also gives them a chance to keep Michael Martinez and give him a role on the ball club, which, you know, they became more and more apparent as the spring went on that guy had a heck of a chance to stay here.
There is Michael Martinez, who we'll see probably later on today. Pete Orr sitting next to him. Second pitch of the day for Hamels. It's down low. So 1 ball and 1 strike the count. Ruben Amaro addressed the media also today, and he basically said the same thing. He led to Charlie's comments. Chopper over towards short. Big hop for Rollins. Has to hurry in time. What away. Also, with Jimmy Rollins in the number 3 hole again today, it looks like that's where he's going to begin the 2011 season. So a lot of things are starting to be figured out with a couple days left until the opener on Friday.
It's about that time to figure them out, right? No more exhibition games after today. No more games with hundreds of changes. This is it.
Here's Neil Walker, who will be the starting second baseman for the Pirates. He takes a fastball on the outside corner. Walker this spring is hitting .309 with 4 homers and 8 RBIs.
Really, really early in this game, but all Hamels' pitches have been away from the middle of the plate. Again, right there, fastball away. You can see where Carlos Ruiz had the glove, and he would have hit the glove if the ball hadn't been fouled off. Rich Doobie taking some notes there. And that's the one thing that's all they've been trying to do, and Cole also, is to get him to follow through on his pitches and to get out of the middle of the plate. Another fastball.
0-2 the count. Here comes the 0-2 pitch. Oh boy, just missed off the outside corner. Good location,
right,
though.
And it's pretty obvious they've come out just trying to locate his fastball here in the first inning. He hasn't thrown anything off speed.
Still ahead, 1 ball and 2 strikes to Neil Walker, the number 2 batter for the Pirates. Wanted away again, and he fouls it back. Last 3 outings for Hamels in spring training: 6 earned runs, 5 earned runs, and 5 earned runs. And Cole said, a few times I didn't throw pitches with any conviction. I had 2 different pitches, and I agreed on one half-heartedly. That was after his last outing. There's a changeup and a good one. Rollins charges, backhands, throws, 2 outs.
They mixed in a changeup that time and got an out with there. Is Clint Hurdle, who's a longtime manager for the Colorado Rockies, managed them into the World Series the year they beat the Phillies in the playoffs, and he will take over in his first year and try to get this organization to 500.
18 straight seasons below the 500 mark.
Saw what he just did right there. Slap Walkers. He came in. Clint is one of those really, really positive guys, and you know that's what you got to have right now. Unfortunately, when you're dealing with the Pirates, is to try and keep it as positive as possible, build guys up, and try and get better.
Spent last year as the hitting coach for the Texas Rangers. Did a nice job with that Rangers offense.
Clint is a really good baseball man, but more than anything, he has a big, as Charlie would call it, a big personality.
1-2 the count as that foul ball knocks Ruiz's mask right on off.
Brought in a veteran guy like Nick Leyva to coach third base for him. There's Nick, former Phillies manager, and a long time with the Blue Jays. He and Cito Gaston were really close, so you know Nick will give him a real stable veteran coach to man that position.
On the hands, and McCutchen stays alive. Their first base coach is Luis Silverio, who was also up for the manager's job. He's an organizational guy, and a lot of folks in the Pirates organization really like Luis, and that's one of the reasons why he was put on their staff, was because he's very familiar with some of the youngsters in this organization. And a called strike 3. Well, this is a heck of a start for Cole Hamels. It's an easy 1-2-3 inning. He winds up throwing just 14 pitches here in the first, and he picks up his first strikeout of the afternoon as we go to the bottom of the first. Is starting to be pared down as he has just a couple of days left before the beginning of the 2011 regular season. His lineup is also taking shape. Let's take a look at it for this afternoon's ball game. Leading it off at center field, Shane Victorino. Placido Polanco's back up in the 2-hole, followed by Jimmy Rollins at shortstop. Ryan Howard is the cleanup batter. Raul Ibanez is in left field, batting 5th. Ben Francisco's won the job in right field. He's in the 6-hole. Carlos Ruiz bats 7th. Hitting 8th is the second baseman Wilson Valdez, and batting 9th is Cole Hamels. And they will face right-hander Charlie Morton, who's in the Pirates rotation, Wheels, but he had a terrible year a season ago.
He did, Tom. Well, so many of them struggled. I mean, they had a team ERA of 5 last year overall. And there's Charlie Morton's numbers in spring training. Those are good numbers. You know, we always talk about spring training numbers. What do they mean? But they're, you know, if they're positive, then that's a good thing, and you feel a lot better about it. But you know, in his case, maybe it helped him make their ball club. There's the scouting report on him, and he is, as you say, in their rotation, and he will throw 3-4 different pitches.
Former Atlanta Braves farms prospect, acquired in the Nate McCloud deal by the Pirates a couple of years ago. Shane Victorino leads it off here in the bottom of the first. Victorino takes a pitch high. Victorino this spring hitting .313, 21 hits in 67 at-bats. He has scored 14 runs. And it's 2 balls and no strikes. Jaramillo held it there for a moment.
Pretty good sinking fastball.
Well, Morton, when he came through the Braves organization, they thought he had a very live fastball. And again, last year 2-12 with an ERA of 7.57.
Well, he's more of a 90 to 93 guy. He can top out at 94. We'll see what he does here on the board today. Right now, well, that one was at 94.
3-0 the count to Victorino. Taking all the way, and he takes a strike at the knees.
Good sign right there for Shane. You know, if he's going to lead off for a while, try and get on base. He bunted a lot in spring training.
And we mentioned he scored 15 runs, or has scored 15 runs. And he thought he had taken strike 2, but it's ball 4, so Victorino's aboard with a leadoff walk.
Boy, Charlie Morton and every pitcher needs those. Those are good sinkers that he starts at him, comes running out over the plate. I don't know. It was high or low.
Last year, the Pirates did not have a pitcher win 10 games. Only the 3rd time in franchise history that happened.
One complete game.
That was it. And just to put it in perspective, the Phillies, you know, they had a lot of complete games, so they had 14.
Yeah. They had Roy Halladay.
That's true. Here's Placido Polanco, and he takes one inside. With Castillo being released earlier today, Polanco is back up in the 2-hole.
Well, that's his best spot. That's where he will help any team the most by batting 2 in the order. If they can do it that way, and they didn't know for a while what they're going to be able to do. If Castillo had made the club and was here, he probably was going to have to hit 2, because where else were you going to hit him? 8th? That would be the only other spot.
Victorino last year stole 34 bases. He was caught 6 times. Phillies haven't run a whole lot during spring training. Not too many teams do. On the inside corner, 1 ball and 1 strike. The umpires for this afternoon's ball game, Mike Estabrook is behind the plate. Philadelphia native Alan Porter is over at 3rd base. Mark Lalo is at 2nd base, and John Conrad is around at 1st. And they'll move around. In fact, Alan Porter is shifted over to 1st base here at the bottom of the 1st. Must be kind of neat for Alan Porter to be part of this umpiring crew, since he is a native of Philadelphia. He lives in Warminster, PA, and he went to Montgomery County Community College, and he had the plate last night. That's why it's odd to see him over at 1st base.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. Spring training, they move him all over the place. There he is. Went to Montco, huh?
Yep.
My neighbor.
1-2 the count to Polanco. And he asked for time.
Shane Victorino now, you know, leading off, getting on 1st base, really has to think a lot about his base running, in my opinion. And that means know where those outfielders are all the time, and think about 3rd base on balls hit to the outfield. 1st to 3rd, 1st to 3rd. I think the Phillies have to play that way a little bit more this year with the way their offense is going to shake out. And that's not even little ball. That's just smart base running. And base running can win and lose so many games for you.
They did a lot of it down in Florida. There were occasions where they would take the extra base and they'd sacrifice and move the ball to the opposite side. Polanco, a swinging bunt, and Victorino will get to 2nd, 1 away.
Morton's got really good life in his fastball right now. That was another run there. We've been showing you can see on the monitor the way the ball's running and sinking, and on a right-handed hitter comes running right in on his hands.
Well, the Phillies have a runner in scoring position. Here's Jimmy Rollins. Rollins hitting .237 this spring, 18 hits in 76 at-bats, couple home runs, 6 RBIs. Phillies did a lot of good things last night in beating the Pirates in the first of this on-deck series.
This is that final game of the season, of the spring, where the manager and coaches, you know, they have something in mind, and the number one thing they have in mind is get them out of here healthy. Because there have been enough problems this spring, and 1 more to go, and that's why a lot of times they don't get a whole lot of at-bats in the final spring training game.
Yeah, now the Pirates have a few more extra guys than the Phillies. The Phillies did bring some guys north with them that may not make the club. And I say may not because there is 1 spot offensively that's probably still available. The Pirates brought a dozen guys with them here to Philadelphia. They still have some decisions to make before they go to Chicago for the opener on Friday.
They didn't make a whole lot of changes last night.
Oh, into the count to Rollins. And a chopper foul. Well, this on-deck series not only given the Phillies and their fans a chance to see each other again. Phillies have done a lot of unique things the last couple of days around the ballpark, which we'll get into. In fact, Scott Fransky's going to be around the ballpark today to tell us about it and show us some of the things that the players are doing today. We'll see Scott next half inning. Outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Yesterday, Cliff Lee was out at a out in right center field, showing some kids how to pitch. Shane Victorino was in the play zone, which is beyond the first base dugout.
Good spot for him.
He said that today.
Oh, of course he was.
He said, I'm a kid, so it was a good spot for me to be.
He had to love being out there.
2-2 the count to Rollins. I think Placido Polanco was distributing some food at one of the concession stands. You and I were with Antonio Bastardo yesterday. He was giving out magnetic schedules.
Raul IBANEZ evidently did that last night. Was at a concession stand. So was Jimmy Rollins.
So a lot going on here at the ballpark. Not only the games. Yesterday, more than 40,000 were here in attendance. 2-2 the count. Line drive, base hit it to left field. Victorino will be held at third. So Rollins with a single. The Phillies have runners on first and third. Ryan Howard will be the batter. And Ryan was part of the festivities yesterday as he took some questions from some fans, including one young guy.
When you win the World Series, can I be in the parade?
We'll talk to some people and try and see what we can get arranged. Try and see if we can get you on the first float. See what we can do, huh?
Well, Ryan is a dad, so he knows how to talk to a youngster like that. That was a great question by that youngster.
Can I be on the? Can I be in the after you win the World?
When you win the World
When you
Series.
win the World Series.
Oh, that was great.
Can I be in the parade?
Well, Ryan will be a big part of it if the Phillies can get to the World Series again. Batting clean up here, trying to get a run home from third.
You have to have a feeling that they will follow up on that with that young man, should that happen.
I would think so.
You just get that feeling.
There were some really good questions yesterday all around the ballpark.
Oh, yeah.
That the players heard, and the coaches heard, too. On the ground, foul.
Hometown guy, let's go. Come on. Good call by Alan Porter. That ball did not catch any part of first base. Here's a look at it right down the line. And you see right there, and he does a nice job of jumping up in the air, avoiding the baseball, and getting the call right.
Yeah, he never really turned his body.
No.
You know, he may have twisted a little bit, but he kept his eye on the ball.
Well, he saw that, you know, it didn't catch a corner of the bag, nothing. It's foul ball.
1 ball, 1 strike the count to Howard with runners on first and third. And a swing and a miss. He was a little late on that fastball. And it's 1-2. That was at 94 for Morton.
That's where he's topping off right now.
See Ryan standing closer to the plate. We've been watching that all spring training, and he's carried it over here to Philadelphia. Runner goes from first, and a breaking ball. It's a call. Strike 3. Howard is rung up. It's a stolen base for Rollins. That's a pretty good hook by Morton that was up in the zone.
And Jimmy steals the bag, but as Tom said, a breaking ball, a good pitch too, and a lot of movement back there by Jaramillo with the runner going, and he still got the call. A lot of times you move around that much, you're going to block the umpire because your head comes up.
Well,
And, excuse me, Tom, it's tough enough for a home plate umpire to stay with a hook like that the whole time, let alone when there's movement.
Phillies have 2 in scoring position now for Ibanez. Ibanez 15 runs batted in this spring, and he takes a fastball for a strike. See Raul spring training numbers, 25 games. This is his 26th. And he has 71 at bats.
Whoa.
That was a good catch by Jaramillo, former Philly prospect. He's had a very good spring.
Yeah, this is a fastball takes off and it sticks in the webbing of the glove. At first he started to look around for it. Like, I hope that comes back off the bricks in a hurry.
It almost looked as if he was crossed up, but I guess he was crossed up on the location more than anything else. Good pitch for Ibanez, and he fouled it back.
It's one of the hardest pitches for a pitcher to handle a lot of times. You know, you're going to have balls in the dirt get away from you and all, but a fastball that fools you, really hard to catch. Because a breaking ball catcher will tell you they're taught to anticipate it in the dirt. Anytime you call for one, you get down and think it may bounce. There's Ray Searage, their pitching coach. with a fastball, when they take off like that, you know, it really can fool a catcher.
In the air to left field. That's pretty well hit, but it's playable. Tabata is there. A few steps from the track. He makes the catch, and the side is retired. No runs, 1 hit, 2 men left in scoring position. A lot of activity going on here at the ballpark, including the Phils and the Pirates. Good. Top of the first. He'll face Lyle Overbay, Matt Diaz, and Pedro Alvarez. And the first pitch to Overbay on the inside corner for strike. Overbay this spring hitting .364 for the Pirates. They brought him over because he's such a good defensive first baseman, but he's had a very good offensive spring. He tried to check his swing. It's outside. Well, Scott Fransky's going to join us throughout the day, so we thought we'd get Scott kicked off in a place that he's most comfortable. That's the radio booth, and he's standing by with David Montgomery. Scotty?
Thank you, guys. And, yeah, it is comfortable. I'm not used to standing up here, but we do have David Montgomery here, Phillies president. David, this on-deck series, certainly a big success, 42,000 plus last night. Another great crowd today, and we'll get into that. But it has to be nice to come home out of spring training after a great spring and to see this fan reaction.
Whoops, got a ball in the gap here, but
David wants to try his play-by-play. I think.
Oh, I don't want to take it away from Tom, but it looks like Lyle Overbay's pulling into second as we talk. But the reality is that we just had tremendous fan support, Scott. I mean, I said yesterday to the chamber gathering, it manifests itself not only in the sellouts that we've had here for now over a year and a half, but the way our fans travel on the road, the attendance at spring training, and you know, our nearby minor league clubs enjoyed tremendous years. So at the gate, and we just feel so blessed. And this fan support has enabled us to do a lot of things on the field, thankfully.
Well, and as a way of saying thank you, I guess you guys kind of dream up a very unique scenario for the on-deck series. We see it some in Fan Appreciation Weekend, players at the gates, but this has gone a step further for sure.
Well, our thought was that the fans have done so much for us, and these are the end of the spring training schedule games, and so why not use this opportunity to do something a little unique back for our fans. And last night and then again today, we went to our players and said, like to try a few things you haven't done in a uniform, which is perhaps hang out with young fans in the bullpen, or in Shane's case yesterday, go up to the fun zone. He questioned being with kids, and we thought that was typecasting for our man Shane. But you know, the reality is that it's a chance for us to make a statement to our fans.
Well, the fans certainly seem to enjoy it and enjoy these last couple of days. We appreciate it, and we're going to be able to show the fans some of what's going on here over the next few innings. Guys?
All right, Scott, thank you very much. Our thanks to David Montgomery for joining us as well. And Pedro Alvarez has just given the Pirates a 2-0 lead with a long home run to right center field, his second one of the spring. And that's been one of the issues for Cole. He has given up the long ball this spring so far.
Had really good command of his pitches with the right-handed hitters, but he's gotten hurt by 2 left-handed hitters, and that thing was down and in and bang out of the ballpark. You get a look right there at Pedro Alvarez, the power potential that guy has. See, #1 pick overall a few years ago, the #1 pick in the whole country by the Pittsburgh Pirates, and they really like him.
Well, he had 16 home runs last year, and after a slow start, he finished up strong. And it's no balls and 2 strikes to Jason Jaramillo.
That was a good cutter he just threw there. But as I mentioned, so far his command has been really good to right-handed hitters, and he's made mistakes out over the plate to the 2 left-handed hitters, or 1 out over the plate, 1 in this inning to the left-handed hitters.
0-2 the count. Outside, 1-2. Jaramillo last year hit 149 for the Pirates. But you saw his numbers this spring as he loops one in front of IBANEZ. That's his 14th hit in 32 at-bats. Chris Snyder, who they expect to share the duties with Ryan Domit behind the plate, he's a little nicked up right now, so Jaramillo may make the club at least to start the season.
Jason Jaramillo, of course, came up out of the Phillies farm system, played at Oklahoma State. He was recruited to play there by Bobby Wine's son, Robbie, who was a coach there at the time, an assistant coach, and recruited Jason to play it.
And where is he now?
He's now the head baseball coach at where is he? At Penn State.
Here's Ronnie Cedeno. Cedeno, 12 hits and 60 at-bats this spring, a 200 average. This is his 21st game. He'll be the everyday shortstop for Pittsburgh. 0-1 the count. In the air to left center field. IBANEZ on the run into the alleyway, makes the diving grab. I wasn't sure if it was going to hang up there for him or if he would get there, and it did both.
That's a really good play by RAUL IBANEZ. He got a tremendous jump on that ball. As Tom said, it didn't look like it was going to hang up that long, but he dives right there, extends. But the whole key to that was the way he read that off the bat and got a tremendous jump on it.
Here's Charlie Morton, and Morton swings at the first pitch. Wilson Valdez and Ryan Howard are in the neighborhood, and it's Wilson who makes the catch. The side is retired, but the Pirates do draw first. A 2-run home run by Pedro Alvarez. We go to the bottom of the second here at Citizens Bank Park. Phillies and the New York Mets will get together, their first series of the year. In fact, the Phillies and the Mets will face each other here in Philadelphia a couple times in the first month of the season. The 5th, 6th, and 7th. The 7th is a Citizens Bank Business Person Special. Limited seats still available for all 3 of those games by going to Phillies.com. Last the second, Phillies trail at 2-0. And they will send Ben Francisco, Carlos Ruiz, and Wilson Valdez to the plate. There's John Mayberry. John Mayberry and Ross Glode, you would think, are going to be a big part of the Phillies bench this year. Now, Mayberry's going to play a little bit out in right field, and Glode may play a little bit out in right field.
Well, the best thing about those 2 guys, you say, Tom, they can play and they can help you, but they can pop one too.
Right.
You know, it's always nice to have a guy come off your bench, or a couple, and it's tougher nowadays to be able to do that, to stockpile bench players that can hit a home run and make the other manager think about a change.
Well, speaking of home runs, Mayberry is tied with Ryan Howard and this guy for home runs this spring. Ben Francisco, Ryan Howard, and John Mayberry each have hit 5. Look at that. Look at those numbers for Francisco. 377 with 5 home runs and 14 runs batted in.
Well, he earned the job.
One pitch. A little low. 2 balls and 1 strike. Well, there weren't many opportunities we mentioned when spring training began, but right field was, you know, obviously an issue with Jason Worth going to Washington, where he signed that long-term free agent contract. And when guys have an opportunity, and Ben Francisco, John Mayberry, you know, during the offseason, Ruben Amaro went to meet with both of those guys and said, listen, there's an opportunity for you here. This is what we think. And, you know, both really did very nice jobs to try to earn the playing time. Easy hop for Alvarez, not an easy throw. And Francisco will go to second. I think that one got away from Alvarez.
I think so. And Lyle Overbay's pretty good down there. And he had no chance unless he had a step ladder. No, he's got a nice little high hop ground ball, takes his crow hop, then he took an extra step and threw a 4-seamer. And Sam Perlazzo is going, whoa, that's right at me.
Alvarez last year committed 16 errors over third. In fact, the Pirates as a team, this was one of their issues too. One of the reasons why they didn't win a whole lot of games. In fact, they lost 105. They won just 57. They were last in the National League in fielding percentage. They committed 127 errors.
Well, their numbers, all their numbers are just bad. You know, your pitching numbers, their defensive numbers, their offensive numbers. So it's, you know, it's no wonder they had the really difficult season they had last year.
1-0 the count to Ruiz. And Carlos hits it back to the middle. Good base running by Francisco as he gets over to third. So 6-3 on the putout. Well, the Pirates numbers that we talked about led to this over the last 18 years. Since 1993, they haven't reached the 500 mark. In fact, in 99, they won 78 games. 97, they won 79 games. But since 2004, they haven't even reached 70 wins. And they're trying to change their fate with the upcoming season, which begins for them on Friday against the Chicago Cubs.
Valdez up there now in a situation where you know these are the kind of game or kind of times when a guy's going to come up for the Phillies this year where you really have to get the runs in, because you can't think they're going to score as many runs the way things are situated right now. Maybe it'll happen, but ground ball here to get the run.
And there's the ground ball, and Overbay goes to his right, and Valdez is out at first. But Francisco scores. He kind of hesitated a little bit, and it's a 2-1 game.
But that's a really good at bat by Wilson Valdez. Hate to see him go sliding head first in the first. Usually nothing good can come out of that. Guys get hurt doing that. They hurt their hands. And hopefully he's he walked right past Scott Sheridan, the trainer, so that's a good sign. Here it comes. Good job of covering there, but watch how hard. See, it's always such a late slide, and look how vulnerable the guy's hands are when they go into that hard bag like that, and they jam fingers, break hands. You go in you go in running through the bag. See, he did something there. Yeah,
he's flexing his knee right now. Hamels takes a pitch low. It's 2-0. The other thing that you could do too is as you slide into the bag, somebody could step on that hand.
There's all kinds of things that can happen, and most of them are bad. Now you're running down there, and once in a while you see a first baseman, and they're in a they're in a position where, all right, you could try to avoid them, maybe go in head first, but to go in head first, and most other times not a good idea.
Hamels slices it foul, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. With 2 out here in the bottom of the second. Cole hit 149 last year, no homers and 2 runs batted in. You just watch his setup though, and the way he swings the bat. There are not too many pitchers that have his style at the plate. I mean, he's a good hitter.
He's very a good athlete.
Pitchers took batting practice today before the regulars took their BP here at Citizens Bank Park, which they'll do from time to time with Rich Doobie throwing the pitches. In the air down the left field line. Tabata had him played perfectly, and he makes the catch. The side is retired. The Phillies, though, do get an unearned run, so they cut the lead in half. We play 2. We go to the third. It's the Pirates 2, the Phillies 1. Gear up for opening day with live reports from the ballpark on Sports Rise, followed by Phillies pregame live. After the game, come back to Comcast Sportsnet for expert analysis plus exclusive team reactions on Phillies postgame live. Phillies opening day coverage before and after the game, Friday starting at noon, only on Comcast Sportsnet. That's right, opening day this Friday. Roy Halladay against Brett Myers for the Houston Astros.
Brett Myers has been an opening day pitcher before, right?
Yes, he has. In fact, he is the second all-time. He's second in wins all-time here at Citizens Bank Park to the guy that's on the mound right now, Cole Hamels. Here's Tabata, who grounded it short his first time up. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Jay Happ is scheduled to pitch Sunday for the Astros, but he tweaked an oblique muscle last night in their exhibition game against the Red Sox in Oklahoma City. So his start is kind of up in the air right now. He only went 3 innings. He was supposed to go at least 7, they thought. And he was hoping that he would wake up today and everything would be fine and he'd be able to throw 100 pitches on Sunday. But Brad Mills was not that optimistic.
Not with that injury.
Foul ball at the plate, and it remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. In fact, the matchups this weekend will include Halladay against Myers on Friday, Cliff Lee against Wandy Rodriguez on Saturday, and well, right now Jay Happ against Roy Oswalt on Sunday. Might be odd for Oswalt, since he's usually an opening day starter for the Astros, to pitch in game 3 against his former team.
He can just kick back and run out to the first base line. I don't have to worry about it.
On the hands, a looper to left that's going to drop in for a base hit. Not a bad pitch by Hamels, but Tabata showing some strength there as he fought it off. So leadoff single. And here's Neil Walker, who grounded it short his first time out. And Walker bunts. Polanco will let it roll. Polanco was trying to get there where he can catch it out of the air, but it just wasn't hit high enough for him.
Looked like they were bunting for a run there too. By that I mean a sacrifice a guy in a scoring position. Don't see a whole lot of that nowadays.
So the count is no balls and 1 strike to Neil Walker as he goes back to the plate. Let's check in with Scott Fransky. Scott, what's going on?
Well, Tom, a big crowd gathering here on the concourse behind home plate, and for good reason. Chase Utley down here meeting and greeting with the fans. Part of this on-deck experience here at Citizens Bank Park over these 2 days. I'm here with Bob and his family, and they just got a chance to meet Chase Utley. And what was that thrill like for you, Bob?
It was fantastic. Andrew, what do you think about meeting Chase Utley?
Really good.
And you're just walking by here, and all of a sudden you see Chase Utley?
Yep.
Pretty cool, huh?
Yes, it is.
All right, guys, enjoy the rest.
Well, obviously we've lost Scott's mic, but that is a neat experience. And we said you never know where you might run into your favorite Philly. And just like that, Chase Utley down at the broadcast stream booth.
These 2 games has been that way. It's been a lot of fun, I would think, for the fans out there.
That ball's in the dirt. Ruiz tried to block it, but it skips away. So up to second goes Tabata.
You'll see Chase Utley. You don't see Cole Hamels do that very often. And there's Chase having his picture taken there.
By the way, Chase took some more ground balls again today before the Phillies took batting practice. And again, he's off that stool, so he's just taking ground balls in a regular fashion, which is, you would think, a very good sign as he continues to make progress toward getting back on the team. And it remains 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Well, that's good to see him smiling and out there like that, because, you know, we all know Chase so well. Inside, he is just killing him that he can't play.
Well, speaking of great answers yesterday, he was asked by a fan, you know, how long ago did your knee start bothering you? I know you were up there.
Yep.
And, you know, he gave a very genuine answer.
Said, I don't know. And he really meant that. It wasn't any, you know, you kid around about him he could be in the CIA the way he keeps secrets and all about his body and his injuries and all that. But you could tell he was telling the truth. He just does not know when it really happened.
Well, there he was. Sam Perlazo was on the tarp, and he was hitting balls to Chase. Now, Chase was not moving that far left or right, but the fact that he's off the stool and doing that and flipping like that, it's a good sign. I'll tell you what. We've said this before. He came to camp in unbelievable shape.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate.
Here's Andrew McCutchen, and McCutchen takes a breaking ball for strike.
And that guy working with him is a really, really good infield instructor and teacher. And he does a tremendous job with those guys, Sam Perlazo. Ask Ryan Howard how much he helped him.
Outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, I thought it was neat, maybe not the answer itself, but how Chase responded to the fan. He said, you know what, let me tell you something. I'll be honest with you. I don't know when it started hurting. 1-2 the count.
It was like, did you do something and it caused it and it started to hurt? And he said, no, it's just gradual. His demeanor will change on Friday, though.
Because he'll want to be out there.
Oh, man.
He wants to be out there today.
Right. You know, he's having some fun down there and being great with the fan. But Friday, it'll really start to eat at him.
And a foul tip into the glove of Ruiz, and it's a strikeout for Hamels. That's his second strikeout of McCutchen, who had been red hot. And 2 away here in the 3rd.
Yeah, now they have the potential to leave one out there. That looked like a little backdoor cut fastball there that was up and out of the strike zone, and really not a good pitch to try and handle there to get that run in.
Well, that'll bring Lyle Overbay to the plate. Overbay doubled and scored his last time up. I mentioned that the 2 lefties in particular against Hamels had good swings against him in that second. Overbay being one, and then of course Alvarez being the other, and Alvarez hit the home run.
Alvarez got down and in fastball that he hit out, and Overbay had a pitch out over the plate that he nailed to right center. He's trying to throw a few curveballs in this inning. The one, I think the pitch he bounced was a curveball. We went to Scott right after that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
There's another curve and a swing and a miss, and it's 1-2.
Yeah, the left-handed hitters are hurting him a little bit with some fastballs, so why not try that?
Rich Doobie, who watched Cliff Lee throw his final bullpen before his first start this weekend today.
And whose son Michael pitched an inning last night. At least the third time now he's pitched against the Phillies.
I thought it was interesting reading some of Rich's comments after the game last night. There's Cliff, who threw his bullpen. Rich Doobie was saying, you know, Michael was originally selected by the Phillies, and he said it was a good thing that he went off to the White Sox originally. Maybe get a fresh approach. And Overbay is rung up back-to-back strikeouts for Hamels. So after allowing the leadoff single to Tabata, he leaves him at third. Coming up when we come back at the bottom of the third, it's Shane Victorino, Placido Polanco, and Jimmy Rollins. Southwest Airlines do rapid rewards, unlimited reward seats, and no blackout dates. And buy your participating Philadelphia area Chevy dealers. Visit ChevyDealer.com. Now, bottom of the third, Phillies trail at 2-1. Top of the order is due up. Phillies had a chance with the top of the order to score a run in the first, but left two in scoring position. They did score an unearned run in the second. And now we go to the bottom of the third. It'll be Shane Victorino, Placido Polanco, and Jimmy Rollins. Phillies as a team are hitting .264 this spring. And again, you can't really look at the numbers and say that that's going to dictate this or that during the regular season. But it is a hair better than what they hit as a team last year. So they're in the same neighborhood, and that's a good thing for Charlie Manuel and his squad, because they were without Chase Utley this spring, and obviously Jason Worth was in Vieira with the Nationals.
I think the most wins any team has in spring training is 22. I'm not sure.
You are correct, Wheels. The defending world champions have won 22.
You know, and there's ties involved. They don't put them in the standings. Because in spring training, you know, sometimes games can end in a tie, and we'll keep you informed as the game progresses, as the PA announcement goes.
Yeah.
But nowadays, it doesn't seem like they play more than 10.
Yeah, Phillies have 21 wins this spring. The Giants have 22. Those are the top two teams in baseball. Overbay will win the race to the bag, one away. Follow the Phillies with your MLB.com at-bat 11 for your iPhone, iPad, Android, or BlackBerry. Get spring training scores, stats, highlights, live audio, and more. Text at-bat to 31826 or visit Phillies.com. for details.
This is the way Charlie Morton's pitched all spring. You can see why they're happy with him, because he has really good life with his fastball. It has tremendous sinking movement and pretty good velocity.
Yeah, this spring 1-0, a 3.32 earned run average. ERA's pretty good. And 10 strikeouts in 19 innings of work, but only 14 hits in 19 innings.
Well, he's throwing his curveball today, throwing slider. There's that sinker, and he really jammed Polanco with it.
And he gets a ground ball. Cedeno double clutched, and Polanco nearly beat it. That was a really close play.
Yeah, it shouldn't have been. I mean, he didn't hit it real hard, but as you said, Cedeno did the extra move there, and that's what almost cost him.
I was reading a story about Ronnie Cedeno. They said he's so flashy, but then with the easy plays, you kind of scratch your head, and you might scratch your head at that one.
It looked like he reached in and got all seams. And the infielder doesn't, you know, if he thinks he still has a little bit more time, he's going to try and find the seams. And in that case, it looked like that's what he thought that he did. He had just enough time, but he almost did.
Here's Rollins, who singled his first time up, and he takes a pitch low. It's 1-0. Well, we might have seen the last of Cole Hamels for this afternoon. Hamels went the first 3, and the Phillies have 2 different relievers loosening up in the pen.
When you reach in the glove and you don't get any seams,
right?
You know, you reach in there and you get all baseball, and you know you can't throw it that way. It's just too slippery. You can throw it, but it's going to go in who knows what direction.
Well, it would be like Alvarez earlier,
like that.
1-1 the count to Rollins. On the outside corner, 1-2 the count. Morton did not like the initial signs that Jaramillo was throwing down there, and he waited and waited until he saw a curveball. And he got the curveball, but he threw it outside. So it's even 2 balls and 2 strikes. They're going to try to go inside again, and then another curveball, and Jimmy whacked it right off his foot.
Yeah, there you go. Right? Last exhibition game, the things you just don't want to have happen. And that one hurt, and he's taking a long walk now.
See the pitch count for Morton, 29 strikes, 21 balls. He is part of a Pirates rotation that will include Ross Ohlendorf, who pitched last night. Ohlendorf felt like he had better command than the numbers showed, and Clint Hurdle, always being positive, said, well, let's hope so. His next start will be for real.
Sounds like him.
Kevin Correa will be the opening day starter on Friday, and Paul Mahal will be part of their rotation. So will James McDonald, the former Dodger.
Jimmy's still trying to walk it off. Such a good spring, taking care of his legs. Everything's been going along really well. And here, right here in this last game, beats one off his foot. And nothing you can do about that stuff.
Yeah, not sure when we were going to see Michael Martinez or Pete Orr, but it might be the next inning.
Yeah, could be a little earlier than you thought.
3-2 the count. There's Michael Martinez and Pete Orr sitting next to each other. And ball 4, Rollins the board for the second time today. So a 2-out base runner. Let's see if the Phillies can cash in with Ryan Howard. Howard struck out looking his first time up. And with 2 outs, they'll play the overshift. 3 infielders on the right side.
They play the traditional one there because that is the third baseman, Alvarez, playing shortstop. Sometimes they'll put different infielders in different spots.
Yeah, the Braves are doing that now. The Braves are moving the third baseman to the right side and keeping the shortstop at his position. And you would figure they would do that because Freddie Gonzalez did it when he was with the Marlins.
Right. I was just going to say, Hanley Ramirez we're used to seeing him stay in the shortstop spot.
No balls, 1 strike to count to Howard. Swing and a miss, and it's 0-2.
Well, he's really thrown his pitches well today. That looked like it may have been a changeup. And used curveball, slider, and sinking fastball. Phillies only have 1 hit off him.
Yeah, the 1 hit was the single by Rollins back of the first. Well, he went in the same location but with a different speed, and it's 1-2.
Well, that was a sinker. And it was a little bit up, but it was in a good spot that he wasn't going to get hurt with it. That's kind of a little 3/4 arm delivery, and that I think really helps with that sinking fastball.
Ryan lays off a breaking ball. 2-2 the count. Off a changeup, and it's 3-2. Now that's part of moving closer to the plate, is that Ryan can recognize what's a ball and a strike off the outside part of the plate.
Absolutely. That's one of that is one of the benefits of doing that, is you ball's a ball and a strike's a strike.
And again, I mean, he's got big feet, but it's not a giant step toward the plate. I mean, it's marginal. Rollins will go, and the pitch is rolled on the right side. Cedeno, the shortstop, has it, and the side is retired. 6-3 on the putout. The Phillies leave 1. Well, those youngsters have some great seats to watch today's game, but we'll show you some even better seats for some youngsters when we come back.
Go Phillies!
And to tell us all about it is the guy that saw him come out of the bullpen, Scott Fransky. Scott, where are you?
Out in, well, some pretty select company here out in the bullpen. And we've got Lewis and Dylan who are here with us. Kyle Kendrick. First of all, Kyle, ready to get this season underway?
Yeah, very excited to get up here and be back at home and see the fans and get started.
Speaking of the fans, you got a couple of them here with you. They brought hot dogs with them and everything.
Yeah, it's cool. We did this last night. A couple kids came out, and then
he's got this one for you, I think.
I'll be pitching it. I don't want to eat this, but it's kind of cool they get to come out here and see the guys and hang out and just hang out with us. So it's kind of neat for them.
Tell us, guys, what's this been like for you?
A dream.
A dream, really? Now, you just walked up to the gates and somebody said, "Come with me," or what happened?
Someone came up to my dad and gave it to him,
and he thought it was a scam, but, you know.
Typical Philly, right? He thought it was a scam. Well, good. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. Enjoy the rest of the ball game, guys.
All right, Scott, thank you very much. Boy, that is a thrill for a youngster to be out in the bullpen. Larry Anderson was out in the bullpen last night while they were doing the game on radio. Scott was up here in the booth, and there were kids out there getting a chance to enjoy it. And look at that. He's looking around thinking, man, I mean, he may not be able to see over the railing, but he's watching Joe Blanton warm up. He just watched Jose Contreras warm up, and Contreras is now in the ball game for the Phillies. There's Joe. We'll see Joe at some point today throw a few innings. But to be out there with Brad Lidge and David Herndon, Kyle Kendrick. Here's Pedro Alvarez, who homered his last time up. Matt Diaz just doubled to start the 4th inning. Gary Matthews joins us up here in the booth.
You know, it's something that they're going to never, ever forget.
Ever.
Okay.
How about just walking up to the gate thinking you're going to sit in the seats, which is cool enough. To the right side, big hop for Howard. That'll get the runner over to third. 3 unassisted on the putout. Over to third goes Diaz. And there's one away.
That's good hitting. Pulling that ball over the right side. If you get a base hit, great. If not, you get that runner to third.
So a runner at third with less than 2 outs for Jaramillo. All right, Sarge. So Contreras is out there in the 4th inning after Cole Hamels goes 3 innings and allows 4 hits and 2 runs. And Charlie Emanuel said yesterday, if you asked him yesterday who would be the closer in place of Brad Lidge, it would be Contreras. So it seems like Jose has won that job at least to start the season, and Ryan Matson will remain the setup guy. What do you think?
Well, I think one of the things Charlie was looking at is really the coolness of Contreras. And we've seen him before. He doesn't really get upset when he misses pitches. He's trying to make a pitch. That's a great pitch. First pitch, inside fastball, up and in. Hitter's a little bit anxious. He'll throw his off-speed pitches in hitting counts. And again, coming from Cuba, this is a piece of cake for you.
Well, I thought Ryan Matson's comments to us the other day when we asked him about the closer's role, he said, well, if it's Jose Contreras, then we'll be behind him 100% of the way. And, you know, that's the attitude for this crew. As Ronnie Cedeno takes a strike, and it's 0-2. Brad Lidge said today that he's hoping to be back by the end of May. And, you know, that would be a great thing if he can get back by the end of May.
Well, that remains to be seen. And then you got to get through your rehab and so on, and then get used to pitching to major league hitters again. Pretty good split.
So 1-2 the count to Cedeno. He lined to left his first time up as IBANEZ made a fine play.
You know, the one thing about it is that any of the positions, it's not really Charlie that puts you in those positions. It's the players that earn that position by the way they've been playing in spring training.
Swing and a miss. He got him. Well, he came back after allowing the leadoff double to Diaz to leave a runner in scoring position. Contreras with 1 clean inning. We go to the bottom of the 4th. Those youngsters will soak it in once again.
And now for a scouting report on tonight's Sixers game. Here's Ryan Howard.
Point guard. Actually,
Yeah.
yeah.
Give us the positions here.
Point guard. This is your 2-man right here. Blend, low post threat. That's your 4. This is your 3, shooting guard. There's a big man in the middle. So hopefully tonight's lineup. Who we got? Who they got? Who are they playing?
No, they're playing Nuggets.
The Nuggets?
Yeah.
Or Houston? I think it's Houston.
It's Houston?
We're looking for a good matchup
Oh, yeah,
down
it
low.
is Houston. It is Houston.
We're trying to work the ball down low.
That's why they're doing this.
A couple passes.
Well, a great gift from the folks over at the Sixers from their 5-man rotation, which has done a nice job this year, to the Phillies' 5-man rotation. And Ryan Howard was laying out who would play where. Do you agree with that, Sarge? Roy Oswalt would be the point guard.
Well, he sees them down there all the time, so he should know whether or not they can shoot, whether or not they can move. So I'm gonna have to go with Ryan's picks.
All right. What about Holiday as the 5? Is he the right center for that group?
He's got to be. Okay, you got to go to him. That's the reason he's in the middle. You're going to go to him.
Well, again, the Sixers will be home tonight against the Rockets, and if you take your ticket stub from today's Phillies game and bring it with you to the Wells Fargo Center, you can get a discounted ticket. See the Sixers against the Houston Rockets. Pretty good gesture on the Sixers' part.
Yeah, it sure is. I actually saw Doug Collins last night when I had to send him one of my hats there he was asking for. I got to tell you, he's tall. He really is.
Did you not know that?
Well, yeah, I
you
did.
lived in Chicago. He coached the Bulls.
I knew him when I was here in the Phillies when I was playing here, but man, he's up there.
You could take him, though, couldn't you?
Not at all.
No?
Let me tell you something. Doug was a pretty mean player. I mean, he was the kind of guy you'd like in the foxhole with you.
But you were the Sarge.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Francisco to third. Alvarez deep behind the bag. That's a strong arm.
Yeah.
2 outs.
That's what you're going to get from him. You're going to get some good plays, strong throws, and you're going to get some plays that he's going to throw the ball away. Young player, a lot of talent that he has, and he can hit.
Now with 2 outs, Francisco's retired for Carlos Ruiz, who grounded it short his first time up. And a sinker for a strike, and it's 0-1.
I'm sure Valdez had mixed emotions with Castillo being here, wondering what was going on and whether or not he was going to get an opportunity to play.
Yeah, and they were pretty friendly, too.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's again, it's a pretty close fraternity in terms of Major League Baseball. Even when you go to another team, and even when you come from a team like the Mets, where you don't really care for them that much.
Alvarez, another opportunity, an easier play. 3 ground ball outs for Morton, 4 ground outs in a row. We've played 4 here at Citizens Bank Park. Phillies trail it by 1. Phillies baseball is brought to you by W.B. Mason. Who but W.B. Mason for amazingly low office product prices. And by the Quality Plus Ford stores. Top of the fifth, 2-1 Pirates. As the fans get a chance to see Michael Martinez take over at shortstop. Jimmy Rollins' afternoon is complete. Eric Kratz is the new catcher. He'll be in there for Carlos Ruiz. And it's a brand new battery because the new pitcher is Joe Blanton. Blanton takes over for Contreras, who goes an inning, allows a hit, picks up a strikeout. And, you know, Blanton will be out there for a couple innings this afternoon as he tunes up for his first start, which will be next Wednesday against the New York Mets. And he'll face Charlie Morton to start the top of the fifth. And he delivers the fastball low, 1 ball, no strikes.
Tim Hudson, pitcher for the Atlanta Braves, was talking and saying how the Phillies be their most competition that they'll have this year. Went on to say that we had a real good pitching staff, but he likes his pitching staff better.
Now, you would expect him to say that,
Oh,
right?
absolutely I would. Absolutely. But I think if you were to start just charting down names, that there would be more Phillies on there in the beginning than it would the Braves.
Now, if you gave him a lie detector test, he probably would pick the Phillies, wouldn't you think?
Usually those pitchers. And you know what, though? They do have really solid pitchers. Maybe not as harder throwers, but they have guys that can pitch. Derek Lowe, for one. Tim Hudson, we've seen him pitch before. And these guys are all gamers. Should be some great competition, but you got to really take care of the business at hand.
Here's Martinez. And he throws out Morton. 1 out here at the top of the fifth. So Michael Martinez, Charlie Manuel said, will share second base to start the season with Wilson Valdez now that Luis Castillo has been released. Valdez will start opening day. And when Charlie talks about sharing second base with Wilson Valdez, he knows that Wilson's been a utility player for most of his career. He probably can't play every day, but can play most of the week.
Well, you're right about that. That's exactly what's going to happen, is that a lot of times guys that are utility players, when you put them in there every day, they seem to maybe lose something over the course of the season. By keeping each one of those guys fresh, it might make them have even a better year.
Well, I think that's a good way of looking at it, Sarge, because, you know, Charlie knows that Valdez last year hit .258, played in 111 games, and did some really good things. Career highs in a number of categories, but you don't want to wear him down. You want to keep him at his best. And, you know, by moving Martinez over to second, you've got a switch hitter who has a good glove that can, you know, that can fill in nicely.
Yeah, maybe on some of the tough right-handers that Charlie feels that Wilson can't handle. That then again, there you got your left-hander in there and some decent speed.
Runner goes, pitch is taken high, throw to second by Kratz is backed up by Valdez. And Tabata, I think, hurt himself. I don't know if he hurt himself on the slide or on the, well, it couldn't have been from the break because he was flying pretty good. I wonder if he turned his ankle when he slid into the bag.
You know what happens a lot of times, these guys, and we're going to take a look at it right here. Well, you can't see anything wrong. I mean, he slid and got up on it. Must have done something to his ankle, I guess.
He may have even made contact with Martinez. We may not have seen the contact, but they're looking at his ankle. Boy, that's a, you know, Sarge, that's a painful injury if indeed it's a turned ankle.
Well, he wouldn't be able to push on it like that if it was really hurting.
I think he got stuck in the dirt, don't you?
And maybe even after that, when he put that foot down because he slid, well, they're taking him out right away.
Well, he's walking with a very slight limp, which is a good sign for the Pirates. John Bowker is going to come on to pinch run for him. And you figure for the Pirates starters like the Phillies, they weren't going to play the whole game anyway. He just said, I'm fine. So Tabata, the 23-year-old, and he's pretty good talent. So Bowker comes on to pinch run at second. And Neil Walker will be the hitter against Blanton with 1 out here in the fifth. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike to Walker. Toward third, Polanco Didn't even look the runner back. He realized that he was going back to second anyway. And there are 2 outs. So Bowker remains in scoring position. Blanton this spring is 2-1 with a 3.21 earned run average. He's thrown 28 innings. It's not counting the 2 outs today. He's had a solid spring.
Oh, he's a workhorse and the kind of guy that you can count on not to miss any starts. He's going to take the ball.
There's a strike. Let's check in with Scott Fransky. Scott, what's going on, buddy?
Well, guys, down here in the Diamond Club where it's suddenly gotten really busy at the bar is behind the bar. Phillies starter Roy Oswalt helping to serve drinks and entertain the customers, pose for photos, talk to fans, shake a lot of hands, and certainly a very unique experience for the folks who got a chance to come down here to the Diamond Club today.
That's pretty neat. You know, Roy yesterday pitched and wasn't part of the festivities around the ballpark. So after getting his running in earlier today and preparing for the Sunday start against the Astros, he takes some time down in the Diamond Club. Scott, any idea as to whether they have to tip Roy Oswalt if he gives them a drink or two?
That's a great question. I haven't seen anybody tip Roy Oswalt. They all just want something, it seems, and that is some autographs and photos.
Yeah, they want the beverages, and then they want a tip. They want the autograph on top
right,
of
you
it.
know,
Yeah.
you get something for free and make them think they didn't give you enough, right?
Words to live by.
Oh, boy.
Swing and a miss, and McCutchen's down on strikes for the 3rd time this afternoon. No runs, 1 hit. 1 man left in scoring position. Roy Oswalt. They'll take us to the bottom of the 5th down in the Diamond Club.
It's just me now.
Friday, April 15th, Major League Baseball will celebrate Jackie Robinson Day, and we'll do the same here at Citizens Bank Park, Sarge, when the Marlins come to town. It's the first of a 3-game series. It wraps up on Sunday the 17th with a Fanatic's Birthday, brought to you by Citizens Bank, a Fanatic Face T-shirt for fans 14 and under. Limited amount of seats are still available by going to Phillies.com. Now we start the bottom of the 5th. Phillies trail at 2-1. And Wilson Valdez leads it off. He grounded out his first time up, but picked up an RBI along the way. And he chops one toward the middle. Brian Friday, who just came on to play second, throws over to Steve Pierce, who just came on to play first, and there's one away. Friday, one of the youngsters for the Pirates that they expect will make an impact eventually. Other changes for Pittsburgh. John Bowker stays in the ballgame to play left field. Starling Marte is in center field for Andrew McCutchen, and the new right fielder is Garrett Jones. And Michael Martinez hitting for the first time. He's in the pitcher's spot. And he shows bunt, takes a pitch outside. Sarge, Michael Martinez, a Rule 5 selection out of the Washington Nationals organization, and at least for the time being, it seems like he has made the Phillies ball club and will not be returned to Washington.
Well, that's a good thing, especially for Martinez. Could be a good thing for the Phillies, too, just depending on how he plays this year.
Takes the 2-0 for a strike. It's 2-1. It's interesting looking at the history of the Rule 5 draft and some of the guys who are part of that Rule 5 history. Some of the impactful guys. Shane Victorino was a Rule 5 selection twice, including once by the Phillies. But there are a number of other guys. Josh Hamilton, I had forgotten, was a Rule 5 selection by the Chicago Cubs, but was then transferred to the Cincinnati Reds before he was eventually traded to the Texas Rangers.
Right, and he probably would be one of the better ones, along with Dan Uggla, who really has made a statement for himself. Well, and that's it's good to have that rule in there because those players may not have gotten a chance to play in the major leagues.
Right. 2-2 the count. And a swing and a miss, and Martinez is the second out of the fifth. And that's 6 in a row retired by Morton. Well, the new third baseman for the Pirates is Jordy Mercer. And he's joined on the left side by a new shortstop. And the new shortstop is Josh Rodriguez. We mentioned Brian Friday's over at second. And Steve Pearce is over at first. Here's Victorino, and Victorino with 2 outs tried to bunt his way on.
Yeah, that's not a bad play simply because if he gets on, he'd be able to steal a base. And I like how he went for the line there as opposed to just trying to bunt the ball. Wanted to either be perfect or to go foul.
It's like Morton and Jaramillo are giving the home plate umpire Mike Estabrook some time. That ball was fouled off his leg. Look at Estabrook. He's like, oh man, that hurts.
Yeah. Weather doesn't do it any good at all, but that's one of the things that catchers and umpires do. The catcher is hit, the umpire usually will go out and give the catcher some time, and vice versa. Kind of like an unwritten rule.
See the pitches for Morton. Pitches by Eddie. The 22 he threw in the third. The 23 he threw in the first. And Victorino tried to check his swing, and there's no appeal. It's 1-2. Victorino's 0 for 1 today with a walk. And he fouls it again at the plate. Mentioned before, Shane was in the kid zone yesterday, which is off the first base side here at Citizens Bank Park, and he was up at the top of it, and he said the only way to get down was to go down the slide. So he went down the slide.
Of course.
Yeah. He got stuck at the bottom, though, he said.
Maybe the weight had something to do with it.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's that. I just think that, you've been on a slide before, Sarge. Sometimes you just, it doesn't, it's not always as slick as you go all the way through.
Tom, I can't tell you the last time I've been on a slide. And I'm sure it was a water slide at that.
That would be great. I just think maybe just on a water slide would be great to see you out there.
Coming down there, you're going to keep going. Oh, boy.
Chopper right side. Pierce makes a nice backhanded play, and Morton bobbled the ball. That's what we talked about the Pirates defense. I mean, something as simple as that. I know it's an on-deck series game, but They led the league in errors, and that's their second error of the day.
Yeah, well, when you're doing things like that, giving teams extra outs, that's why they are where they are as an organization. This is a fine play, picks it right there, nice toss, and he never looked it into his glove at all. Take a look at this, coming across there, he just didn't look it in the glove. Had plenty of time.
Well, Clint Hurdle has a lot to do with his upcoming year to try to get these young Pirates to take that next step, whatever it is.
Well, that's to win some ball games and to be consistent. Never seem to know what direction the Pittsburgh Pirates are going in.
Polanco takes a sinker low, 1 ball and no strikes. (2-1) Pittsburgh. Phillies with just 1 hit so far. And that was a first inning single by Jimmy Rollins. A liner to left. Bowker makes the grab, and the side is retired. No runs, no hits. 1 man left. There was 1 Pirates error. We've played 5. That little guy is all ready to go. Season at the Majestic Clubhouse store, featuring the new batting practice jersey, some of the cool jackets that would really be good for you today, and other of the authentic collection apparel. The Majestic Clubhouse store at Citizens Bank Park, open 10 a.m. until 6, Monday through Saturday. See that sweatshirt that gentleman's wearing there? It's walking right past the graphic. That's one of those sweatshirts that you can pick up at the Majestic Clubhouse store. That's right, baseball heaven, big boy. Cliff Lee jersey is one of the more popular items here in Philadelphia. Folks are gazing up at the Fanatic, who's all dressed in red today. As we go to the top of the 6th, Joe Blanton fires the first pitch as a strike to Steve Pearce, batting for the first time.
A lot of movement, good sink on that ball, and big Joe Blanton.
Pearce hitting .286 this spring. No home runs and 4 runs batted in. A liner down the left field line, and it's a fair ball. It's going to head to the corner. And Pearce will get a double out of that, as IBANEZ will get it back in. So a leadoff double. Second hit allowed by Blanton. Mentioned that Joe won't start until next Wednesday against the Mets.
See where this pitch is. Well, you see the difference in that one. That one ball there up in the zone, even though it had movement coming in. A little better success when that ball is down.
Well, with the runner in scoring position, Garrett Jones will be the batter. Jones has not hit a home run this spring. Has 7 runs batted in and is hitting just .217. He'll get the runner over. Howard with a nice diving play. Blanton's there to cover. 1 away. Well, with Ryan playing off the bag, he didn't have as far to go, but he still made a nice play to get to that ball.
Yeah, when he doesn't have to think about it, he seems to make great plays all the time defensively as he goes down in the ground. Now, this is very important, that toss. Gets it there in good fashion.
Little technique, too, by Blanton. He turned as soon as he touched the bag just to look at the runner who was over at third. Jordy Mercer takes a fastball for strike one. See Mercer's numbers last year in Double-A Altoona. 282 hitter, 3 home runs. He lofts one to shallow center. Victorino's not going to get to it. And the runner will score from third. It's 3-1 Pittsburgh. Mercer just put the bat on the ball on that one.
Yeah. Got jammed on that ball there, staying up the middle. Doesn't appear to be a bad pitch at all. Times you got to give the hitter a little bit of credit. Take a look at this ball as it comes in there and hits it off the end of the bat. That ball was away. Victorino just not able to get to that ball there, not hit hard enough.
So 1 out, runner at first. Jason Jaramillo will bat for the third time. Jaramillo is 1 for 2. He singled back at the second, and he popped out to third his last time up. And he takes a pitch low, 1 ball and no strikes. Mentioned that Blanton won't pitch against Sarge until next Wednesday, so he's going to have to probably throw a few bullpens before next Wednesday.
So maybe a few sides there, and who knows, maybe some simulation games, or maybe one.
Softly hit to the right side, off the glove of Howard. That time he just couldn't get to it. And everybody's going to be safe. Well, it was Ryan's ball. I mean, there's no chance for Valdez to get the runner at first if he lets it go by. It would have been close.
Do or die right there. Once he dove, however, and he got a bad jump on that ball. Once he dove, and you can see almost he didn't really have to dive. I think if he keeps going toward first, he'd have that toward second. I mean, he'd have that play right at second base. His momentum was taking him toward second.
So 2 on, 1 out. And the batter is Josh Rodriguez. See, the Phillies won't hold the base runners on. Valdez will just keep an eye on Mercer at second. And a strike by Blanton. 0-1 the count.
Almost as if Ryan didn't really see that ball coming off of the bat.
That's what I was thinking.
Had slow reactions on it. It wasn't all that difficult of a play, and the ball hit him right in the glove.
Yeah, it seemed like the play he made earlier was a harder play. He's going to get another chance, this time on a pop-up, and he makes the grab. And there are 2 outs. And Ryan Domit will pinch hit for the Pirates. Now, Domit will be the starting catcher for Pittsburgh, particularly with Chris Snyder a little nicked up. Snyder's a guy they got from the Diamondbacks last year. Domit is a switch hitter, and he has good pop from the left side of the plate, hitting only .209 this spring, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. Sarge, the Pirates will head to your hometown, Chicago, to open the season. Did you give Clint Hurdle or any of the coaches a scouting report on the weather? I heard it was supposed to snow.
It's going to be cold. Always is cold. Opening day.
And a strike, so it's 1 ball and 1 strike. No bullpen action for the Pirates. And that's a young man who's been told he's made the team. That's Mike Crotta, a right-hander. And there's only 1 spot left for the Pirates in their pen. One and 2 the count to Domit. Swing and a miss. He got him. So Blanton works out of any more trouble. He did allow a run on 3 hits. He leaves 2. Middle of the 6th there at Citizens Bank Park. Phillies trail it by 2. Rapid Rewards, unlimited reward seats, and no blackout dates. And by Xfinity. Xfinity is the official HD provider of the Phillies. Xfinity service not available in all areas. A little more than 36,000 on hand this afternoon for this ball game. So that means the Phillies in the 2 games, the 2 on-deck games, they've drawn over 78,000. And I don't know if you count that hand twice or just once, but that is a huge hand.
Yeah, good way to drink your favorite beverage.
That hand dwarfs that young lady.
Oh, boy.
So plenty of sausages, plenty of peppers.
Oh, man, that's good stuff.
Yep. Plenty of brew being sold here the last couple of days.
I'm going to have to get me one of those, Tom.
What, sausages? Or?
That's right, both.
Okay. Yeah, both. You're going to get yourself one of those blankets,
and
too, Sarge.
You know what? That blanket looks really pretty nice and warm.
Well, great combination. Sausage and pepper sandwich. And a brew to keep yourself busy on a cool afternoon. Eric Kratz will lead off here in the bottom of the 6th. Kratz came on to catch for Carlos Ruiz. An inning ago defensively, getting a chance to bat against his old club. And he'll face Mike Crotta, who's the new pitcher for the Pirates. And the first pitch is whacked on the ground foul. Right past Juan Samuel over in the third base coach's box. So Crotta was told yesterday that he's made the club. A 1.46 ERA this spring, 7 hits and 12 1/3. Not too shabby. And a good breaking ball, and it's 0-2 to Kratz.
Yeah, looked to be a little bit of a slider as it breaks in.
Sarge, this is Jimmy Rollins' spot in the lineup. That's where Kratz is hitting. It's Kratz, then Howard, and IBANEZ. Let's talk about this lineup a little bit. Castillo was released earlier today.
Yep.
So it seems that Placido Polanco is going to move back into that 2-hole, and Valdez will be the opening day second baseman. Where else does Charlie Emanuel go with this lineup? I mean, you think we're going to see Victorino leading it off and Rollins hitting third?
I think that'll be the way they're going to start, and then they'll see what happens. I mean, keep in mind, J-Ro drove in 94 one year from the leadoff spot. So hitting in the third spot, he should have more opportunities. And again, Charlie's putting a little pressure on him by putting him in the third spot and saying, hey, we're going to go the way you go.
Well, and you talked to Charlie about that today. I mean, what did he say about Victorino leading off as well?
Well, he likes Victorino leading off. Victorino's the type of player that can lead off, hit second. He can hit 6. You know, he has that versatility, and by stealing 34 bases last year, I think he'll steal more this year because he knows they're going to need that. They're going to need that this year, especially with the base running. So if he can steal his 40-plus bases it'll make it that much easier for the fighting field.
All right, now we talked about Victorino batting leadoff, Polanco second, Rollins third. We know Ryan Howard fourth. Where does he go fifth and sixth?
Well, they're going to flip-flop that, I would imagine there. Left-handed pitcher, we'll have Francisco there. Right-handed could be Ibanez. I'm sure it'll be Ibanez. And then the longer the season goes, he'll probably maybe stick with one or the other, and especially if Ben shows he can hit tough right-handers.
Well, you've been a proponent of Rollins hitting third. You've talked about that the last week or 10 days, that you like the pressure. I mean, Jimmy obviously likes the pressure of being in the spotlight.
Well, he's a type of hitter. They can clutch hit for you. He can hit a ball out of the ballpark. If he walks, he can steal a base. And I like him there. I do.
Well, this will be a 5-3 putout, although the throw was nothing fancy. So 2 outs here in the sixth.
And I think for me, the more pressure you would put on him, the better player he would be.
Now, how big, and we know that Ryan Howard is a big part of this offense, how much bigger a part of this offense does he need to be, you think?
I think he just needs to be his same self. I don't think he should try and do anything different. Drive the ball if he can.
Fastball upstairs to Ibanez. 1 ball, no strikes.
I think if Ryan, if he doesn't try and pull the ball, and I think there were some balls today he tried to pull, the ones that are out over the plate. Those are the balls that he can hit out of the ballpark to left center. Try and pull those balls. What happens is your bat gets slow, especially when it's on the outside, because you got to slow it up in order to hit the ball or to make contact.
That was a pretty good pitch for Ibanez to hit. He fouled it back. And the count is 2 balls and 1 strike to Raul.
That's what the good hitters do. And you remember those years that Barry Bonds was having, where he'd see one pitch and be able to drive it. And this is what you want to do. You don't want to let your good pitchers go by without hitting them hard.
Off the end of the bat, and the shortstop Rodriguez makes the play. Phillies go down in order here in the 6th. We'll say goodbye to Sarge. Sarge, we'll see you on Friday on opening day.
Yes, you will. Thank you.
Pirates swinging the bats pretty well here this afternoon. 9 hits. They made a couple errors. Phillies have 1 run, and it is unearned. Pedro Alvarez, a home run to right center field, is second in spring training. Charlie Morton, he was really solid here this afternoon. Cole Hamels, 3 innings. He gave up the 2-run home run. He didn't walk anybody. Struck out 3. But Joe Blanton on right now. Tom, the 3rd pitcher used by the Phillies this afternoon, and it's been all Pittsburgh as far as the bats go.
Yeah, Hamels, as you mentioned, with the 3 innings, he allowed the 2-run home run to Alvarez. Jose Contreras pitched a scoreless 4th inning for the Phillies. Blanton is scheduled to throw 3 innings here today, and then the Phillies, I think, will go to Kyle Kendrick. In fact, yeah, Kyle is loosening up in the pen right now. I asked Rich Duby, I said, so who else are you going to pitch today besides Blanton and Hamels? He said, well, Contreras is going to get an inning. And then he reeled off like 5 or 6 guys, and I thought, well, how long are we playing today? As John Bowker has the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I think this is an intra-squad game. You play as many innings as you want.
He did. He reeled off 3 or 4 guys. He said, you know, Bastardo, maybe Herndon.
Well, maybe he's thinking at the end of the game, give him a hitter or 2.
Well, that crossed my mind.
Hope not.
There's Kyle Kendrick, fresh off his bullpen interview with Scott Fransky. And a swing and a miss, and Bowker is rung up. And that's the 3rd strikeout for Blanton this afternoon.
That pitch is really important for him to compete against left-handed hitters, and that's his changeup. And that was a pretty good one. And a little changeup grip right there, down and away, and he gets a left-handed hitter. Right-handed pitcher doesn't throw real hard. Really needs that changeup for left-handed hitters.
Here's Brian Friday. He bats for the first time. He came on to play second for Neil Walker. See Friday's numbers last year on 3 different levels. They like him, boy. He got a chance to win a job this spring. He was with them the entire spring. And he pulls that toward Polanco. And from behind the bag, 2 outs. Joe Blanton said after his last start, he said, mechanically, I felt solid. And he was solid in that last start. He went 6 innings, allowed 5 hits and no runs. And it's good to feel that way, to feel it click, so he can always remember it. And Wheels, there's that new HD board.
About that board.
That is a beauty.
Man. It's got some info on it, too.
Yeah, if you look closely, you'll see Joe's headshot off to the right. And you see some of the specifics about the scoreboard. And Starling Marte lines out to Polanco, and the side is retired. What you'll also see is that new HD board leading everybody to take me out to the ball game as we go to the bottom of the 7th. Fan Club membership includes official Fightin' Phil's fan club membership card, a decal, and a hat. A subscription to MLB.com game day audio for your PC, and 10% off your entire purchase coupon for the Majestic Clubhouse store. Join now at Phillies.com. Some of the sights of Citizens Bank Park. It all begins for real on Friday afternoon, although it's always real for that youngster. It could be an on-deck series exhibition game against the Pirates, or it could be the opener against the Houston Astros. Chris Rhysop will take over for the Pirates as we go to the bottom of the 7th. Rhysop's spring numbers in 10 games, a 2.92 ERA, 14 strikeouts and 12 1/3. This guy has always been able to throw hard.
Well, we saw him break in with the Florida Marlins a few years ago. Then he went to Atlanta, and kind of a downward spiral for him. One of those, like you said, you know, he had some stuff. The Marlins thought they had a pretty good one in him when he was a young pitcher, but he's had physical problems too.
Francisco's 0 for 2. He's reached on an error and has scored the only run for the Phillies. He's also grounded to third.
The regulars getting more at bats than I thought they might get. I remember a spring training game one year. The Phillies played the Boston Red Sox. Final game of the spring. They got no hit. I think it was 5 pitchers, 6 pitchers that Red Sox used. You know, everybody could you could hear those bus engines running out there.
Did anybody remember it the next day?
There was one guy that was really mad after the game, had his head down and all. Dave Hollins. He was ticked off. He didn't like getting hit, and no hit even in an exhibition game. And they had to say, come on, man, it's not that big a deal.
To right field, Garrett Jones is over. And Francisco hit it hard, but he's retired for the first out.
Back in those days, you had to be just the right person to tell him it was no big deal, too.
Now you can tell him anything you want.
He's great now. He spends a lot of time coming up to people saying, I guess I owe you an apology. Were you around when I was a player?
Oh, he was a great guy. He is a great guy, I should say.
Oh, makes me laugh when he says that to somebody.
Dave Hollins is now a scout with the Phillies.
Oh, he's tremendous.
Here's Delwyn Young hitting for the first time, pitch hitting for the Phillies.
He was just very intense when he played. He didn't have a whole lot of fun.
A little low, 2 balls and no strikes to Young. Swing and a miss. Delwyn Young, who played last year for the Pirates. In fact, he was their primary pinch hitter. He did some pretty good things with Pittsburgh the last couple of years. He's a switch hitter, batting left-handed for the Phillies against the righty Reesop. And he pulls it toward first. Pierce will take it to the bag himself. And they're 2 away. Well, before the ball game today, there were also some festivities, and it included an autograph signing by some of the Phil's alums. There's Dutch, Darren Dalton, Tommy Green was there as well. And hey, how about Larry Boa, who's been at the ballpark a few different times the last month or so?
Just got off the phone with him.
Oh, yeah?
He was saying now he is down there signing autographs. So why don't you stop up and see us? I said he wasn't interested in coming up and seeing us. As always, very blunt.
I did a couple of dinners with Larry this past off season, and he was outstanding.
He's a great guy.
Wilson Valdez, the hitter.
He'll had a lot of laughs over the years.
He told a great story, and I had never heard him tell this one before, but he told this story about his first game in Spartanburg.
Oh, yeah.
He was so mad he was 0 for 4. He struck out 4 times, and he was at his locker after the game, and his manager said, hey, Larry, what's wrong? He said, I don't know if I can cut this. I think you should just send me back to Sacramento. He goes, I wouldn't worry about it. He goes, I think that guy out there is going to be pretty good. And that guy out there turned out to be Nolan Ryan, who struck him out 4 times.
Yeah, back in those days, Bo was batting right-handed all the time. He wasn't a switch hitter, and he faced and he says the lights that night were unbelievable. You could see your shadow in the lights and all that. So, yeah, that was a tough guy to hit off right away. Bo's doing a great job on MLB, and you know he's having a nice little second career right now.
Wilson Valdez hits one toward the track in right, and he's retired by Garrett Jones. So the Phillies go down in order here in the bottom of the 7th. Activities continue. So does the game as we go to the top of the 8th.
by Citizens Bank. We're for homes. Talk to us today about how we can help guide you to the loan that's right for you. Views of the concourse here at Citizens Bank Park. A lot of folks here this afternoon. We said 42,000 on hand last night. A little less than that here this afternoon. In fact, the paid crowd is 36,509. There's Pete Orr, who takes over at third for Placido Polanco. Kyle Kendrick is the new pitcher for the Phillies as we start the top of the 8th. There's Kendrick's spring numbers. No wins, a loss, a 4.67 earned run average. He's allowed 20 hits and 17 in the third. I guess the assumption is, the Phillies have 7 relief pitchers. They're going to keep 12 pitchers overall. So for now, what's in the bullpen is what they will take with them into the start of the season, including Kyle Kendrick as the potential long man for the Phillies. And I say for now because there are still moves being made around baseball where there could be some guys that become available.
Yeah, and some teams open up tomorrow. They have to get their roster a little quicker. Phillies, of course, don't open up till Friday, so Ruben Amaro Jr. and his staff have some more time to think things through for the one extra man that's left and what they're going to do with the pitching staff.
Right. In fact, the coaches met earlier today, before everyone arrived here at the ballpark. Steve Pearce is the hitter. On the hands, Pete Orr calls everybody off. He's got a beat on it, 1 away. I would think this is a tough time of year for, let's say, a guy like Pete Orr or Delwyn Young, because you don't know what your fate will be, whether you'll be in the big leagues or if you're going to have to go back to the minor leagues. You'll have to wait probably another day or so.
It's kind of get teased a little bit, stay with the big league club this long, right, to the last exhibition game. And, sometimes they already know where they're going to go, and they're here at the end to fill in rosters, to fill in the dugout to play in these games at the end. But in this case, there's still a move to be made, and the guys don't know.
Here's Garrett Jones. Jones 0 for 1. He grounded out to first his first time up.
This guy has tremendous power. We've seen him hit a ball over the bricks in center field.
Yeah, it's one of the longest home runs here at the ballpark.
Yeah, he hit a long one to right center, hit in the bullpen. There's that center field area. Not many guys have gone over that. Ryan Howard has a couple times, and Garrett Jones has.
Jones has hit 21 home runs in each of the last 2 years. He'll roll that one over the mound. Michael Martinez will throw him out.
He's a big guy, that you can pitch to. But when he's hot and you make mistakes to him, he can hit him with anybody.
Out of the Pirates bullpen, their closer, Joel Hanrahan, starts to fire. I say their closer because he will be the closer for 2011.
And he did a little bit of that with Washington and wasn't real successful. He's with the Dodgers at one time. Big arm guy. Decent slider and all that, but a guy who's had trouble closing because as I mentioned, he's big arm, he throws hard, but the guy's been able to hit him throughout his career.
0-1 the count to Mercer.
He can be a little bit straight with his fastball, and he can be a little bit too much in the middle of the plate.
Phillies have bullpen action as well, with Kendrick pitching here in the 8th. And the 1-1 pitch on the outside corner. 1-2. There's Juan Perez. His stuff has been really good this spring.
Yeah, they liked him. Be interested to see what happens with him. His slider makes left-handed hitters uncomfortable, and that's what you want from a situation left-hander. First thing you look for, in my opinion, one of the first things you look for is how's a left-handed hitter react to a guy's breaking ball from a left-handed pitcher. And if they flinch, that's a good start.
2-2 the count. The pitch from Kendrick. Just off the outside corner.
That's one of the first things you notice from Juan Perez this spring is that when left-handed hitters face him, they pulled off and they didn't like hitting off.
Phillies ball girls will be busy again this year. In fact, they've got a big fashion show, which will be tomorrow in in Center City at the Macy's in Center City. It begins at 5:30. And they are already in mid-season form. Over toward third. Orr takes the glove side hop, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Kyle Kendrick. So he retires the Pirates in order. Fans getting a chance to not only get their picture of their favorite spot, but also getting a chance to see their favorite Phil. Citizens Bank Parquet reminder, Monday, April 18th at 7:05 is Hatfield Dollar Dog Night here at the ballpark. That's right, it's the first one of the year. 7:05, 7:05, and then 1:05 is the Citizens Bank Business Person Special. Limited amount of tickets remain. Order your tickets now by going to Phillies.com. Well, folks have been getting their picture in their favorite spot all day long. In fact, for the last couple of days. And who better to take a photo than with our own Santa Claus, Chris Wheeler.
Oh, that Snoop camera is right in mid-season form.
That's exactly right, Wheels.
Yeah.
Well, we had to get all the kinks out for everything, and we were able to do it here in the booth. And
right here in our show tonight, the Beatles were performing right then. The old Ed Sullivan show right here.
Well, everybody's ready to go, and all the equipment is all polished off.
Yeah.
Joel Hanrahan starts the bottom of the 8th inning for the Phils. Michael Martinez, a little slug bunt back to the mound. His speed put a little pressure on Hanrahan, and he retired him. And there's one away.
A bunt for a base hit. You know, he's trying to drag that, or you know, he's certainly not trying to bunt it right back to the pitcher. But you see, he can do some things. He's very athletic, and he can run a little bit. And when that ball kicked away, it had a chance to be a base hit. That was a 95-mile-an-hour fastball from Hanrahan, so he bunted that real hard back at him.
Well, with one out, John Mayberry will bat for the first time. .299 hitter with 5 homers and 11 runs batted in. Mayberry tied for the team lead in home runs with Francisco and Howard this spring. Francisco hit his 5th one last night.
It is 96. That's what I was talking about with Hanrahan. Big arm, really throws hard, but has a problem locating that fastball sometimes, and guys can hit it. Talk about that all the time, that major league players, you can't throw it hard enough to them because they all can hit a fastball. That's why they're here. But if you can spot it at 95, 96, you can get a lot of people out too.
center field. Marte will make the grab, and there are 2 outs. Before the Phillies start the season, get the latest news on the starting 5, the new lineup, team injuries, and the replacement in right field. Watch the Phillies season previews. First pitch presented by Cadillac, Thursday night at 10:30, only on Comcast Sportsnet. And now with 2 outs, here's Pete Orr. Orr's hitting .273 this spring. I was talking with Sam Perlazzo today about Orr. He said, what was the first thing that struck you about Pete Orr this spring? I said, well, he's way faster than I ever thought he was. Yeah, well, he said, well, I've asked guys the same thing, and they were as surprised as we were.
Yeah, you know, that was one thing there's Sam right there, when he used to play with Atlanta, but he didn't play. You know, he played a little bit for them, but he wasn't an everyday player, played some second. But one thing about him was he could always run. You could tell he was athletic. He reminded me of Jim Eisenreich. Jim Eisenreich used to fool you. He'd have a ground ball to second and beat it out. And Orr was that kind of player that, you know, you better not take your time on him. He can beat the throw.
Inside, 3-1. Bullpen action for the Pirates. And that is Jared Hughes, the right-hander.
He will not get into this game.
To right center field. That is well hit by Pete Orr. That's going to wind up splitting the gap and taking a hop off the wall. Watch him run, folks. He's around second, and he'll get to third very easily. Some serious speed.
Yeah, well, he can run. And Jared Hughes will pitch the 9th inning. And the Phillies are trailing in this game. Yeah, Pete Orr can. Well, watch what he does right here. Hits that thing hard into a slider too. He hit it hard into right center field, and easily gets third base on a stand-up triple.
Eric Kratz takes a fastball upstairs. 1 ball, no strikes.
Pete Orr, Delwyn Young, a couple of the guys left battling for a job right now.
It really seems like it's down to those 2, right?
It does.
Because Kratz will most likely be down at AAA as one of the catchers. Dane Sardina the same. And you would think that they would keep an extra infielder just because of Chase Utley's injury.
And they played all those guys in the outfield too during spring training just for that reason, to see if they could put them out there. You get an extra inning game, double switches. Really important to know that when you go into the season and not have to experiment. They did the experimentation in spring training. Managers do not like to have to go into a season and think, and then all of a sudden get in spots and, well, I wonder if he can play somewhere. They want to know if he can play there or not, and they do now.
2-1 the count to Kratz. Here's the pitch to right field. Then a slice out of play.
Kratz grew up in the Telford area. I was talking to him the other day about, you know, where his hometown was, and, you know, he got a lot of roots in the Philadelphia area. So, you know, if he's going to play at Lehigh Valley, that's pretty good for him. His family's really close.
Yeah, he has 2 kids, 2 young kids, so he'll be able to spend some more time at home. I can't imagine there's been a time for him to ever do that before. Even if he played for the Pirates AA affiliate in Altoona. That's a little too far a drive. 2-2 the count. Jaramillo blocks that and keeps the runner at third. Juan Samuel over in the third base coach's box talking to Pete Orr.
Phillies have really spaced their hits out today.
Yes, they have. 1 in the first, 1 here in the 8th. Pierce into foul territory. And he makes the catch. The side is retired. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left in scoring position. And do we have a hat for you? Just visit the store and you'll see the colors are best. Teacher All-Stars with the News and Education Department of the Philadelphia Inquirer. Now, students, parents, and peers, please tell us in an essay of 500 words or less about a teacher that is making a difference in your life. 10 teachers will be selected and honored prior to the game on Friday, May 6th. Send your entries via email to fandev@phillies.com or mail attention Teacher All-Stars, 1 Citizens Bank Park, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 19148. The deadline for submission is this Monday, April 4th. It is a great way, as we've seen the last few years, to pay tribute to your favorite teacher. We go to the top of the 9th inning, and we won't tell their teachers that they're at the ballpark today, although they probably didn't get out of school early because it was a 4:05 first pitch. Maybe at the end of the day.
Is that how it works now?
Yeah, I mean, it depends.
I can't remember what time we get out of school. 3
I
o'clock?
have one that gets out at about 2:30 and another one that gets out, and the other 3 get out at about 3:30.
That's what I remember, was around 3.
Juan Perez, the new pitcher for the Phillies, here at the top of the 9th. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike to
With
Jason Jaramillo.
This guy Perez, you don't know whether or not he can throw enough strikes to compete up here. But stuff-wise, he's really got good stuff.
Well, and you mentioned before the slider against the lefties. Well, there it is right there against a righty. It's good.
See, you think if you're a left-handed hitter right there and he jumps at you and throws that breaking ball, you will flinch. And that's what he's been able to do pretty well.
Foul territory, Glode and Kratzer over. The closest guy to that is Rich Doobie.
Remember that time? Where did he get hit? We were
he got hit in the head, didn't he?
Yeah, we were in Denver. I'm trying to remember when that foul ball nailed him.
It was Atlanta.
Was it Atlanta?
Yeah.
Oh. Once we found out he was okay, that was open season then. The way he likes the needle.
He was needling today a little bit about our new jackets that we're wearing up in the booth.
Well, you know he wants one.
He sure does.
At the correct price, too.
I told him that he could get it at the Majestic Clubhouse store like everybody else. They appeal. No swings as the first base umpire. 2-2 the count. Wow. To Jason Jaramillo.
I may have waved at that one. Especially in the 9th inning.
A fastball from Perez that he just threw came in at 93. He's not a big guy either. He can get it up there. Back toward the middle, a little humpback liner, and Valdez records the out, 1 away. There's Roy Halladay getting himself ready. He's got that look about him, Wheels. Opening day is just a couple of days away. And he will open up the season here at Citizens Bank Park.
A lot of times veteran pitchers in spring training aren't very good. You know, they're just working on things, or they get in those wind-blown games. And, man, he was really good at spring training this year. His ball was moving all over the place.
Yeah, he had a command of every pitch he threw. So he'll start on Friday against Brett Myers.
They asked him yesterday in that Q&A you were talking about with the Chamber of Commerce reception, you know, do you mind pitching in cold weather? He said no. He says, because I know the hitters don't like it.
That's true. I'm sure that he pitched a game or two in high school in cold weather in Colorado. And of course, you know, coming through the professional ranks, those minor league cities, there's some in the Northeast, so they're not forgiving either weather-wise. 3-1 the count.
But, you know, to face him on a less than ideal day as far as conditions go is not a whole lot of laughs, because you don't usually center it real well off him. On the barrel of the bat, you know, you get a lot of balls off the hands and off the end, and they really hurt a hitter's hands when it's you know, early in the season. It's chilly.
To right field for Josh Rodriguez, not deep, and Young's not going to get to that one. It'll drop in for a base hit. A 1-out single. And Josh Harrison will bat. The diehards, they're sticking it out from start to finish here this afternoon. Harrison batting for the first time. He's batting for Joel Hanrahan. And he hits one off the end of the bat, a little flare to right field. That'll get Rodriguez over to third. So runners on first and third with one out here in the top of the ninth. And we mentioned that Roy Halladay will start things off on Friday. And he'll be opposed by Brett Myers. Here are the scheduled pitching matchups. We say scheduled because on Sunday, Jay Happ's supposed to go for the Astros. But, you know, he hurt his side last night. We're not sure if he'll definitively start. But it's Wandy Rodriguez against Cliff Lee on Saturday. And then Sunday, it's Happ against Roy Oswalt. Oswalt pitching against his former team. Cliff Lee looking forward to his first start in a Phillies uniform here at Citizens Bank Park since he wrapped up his first tour with the Phillies in the World Series against the Yankees. And we will talk to him before his first start here in Philadelphia.
Well, you have two guys that will be running out for introductions on opening day that a lot of times wouldn't be doing that because they'd be the starter. Lee and Oswalt. And Cole Hamels is certainly that kind of guy on another team. The only one guy can start on opening day, and that's the guy we just showed, the big boy, Roy Halladay. But you think about that, the kind of starting pitching the Phillies have of guys who could be number ones on other teams. And that guy's certainly one of them. And he is number one.
Two guys that have won a Cy Young Award in their career. Halladay won it last year. He won one with the Blue Jays as well. Cliff Lee won one with the Indians. And others who potentially could be Cy Young Award winners. There's no question about that. It's kind of neat for fans because if you didn't get tickets for opening day, well, you're kind of seeing an opening day pitcher in game two. Runner tags from third. Ibanez got to that ball. The throw to the plate not in time. And it's 4-1 Pittsburgh. Harrison got up to second. Wheels, out of everything that's on paper right now for the Phillies, what are you looking forward to most?
I just like watching this team.
Yeah.
Having been through the bad times around here, and every year to have the anticipation to just know that or expect to compete all year at a high level and not be out of the race early and just think you have a chance to play October baseball. I mean, I don't look at one thing, Tom. I just look at the big picture and think how great it is to have this kind of team that's in contention all the time, or you think is going to be in contention, and you can enjoy 6 months of it and maybe longer.
Yeah, and to go into the season with the prospects, I mean, every year when it's opening day, you feel like the slate is clean, but to go in not only having the slate clean, but to be who everybody thinks is the favorite to win the National League East, to have those kind of expectations, that's pretty impressive.
The Phillies used to be a team like the Pirates where you'd hope you could play 500 and you knew it was going to be tough to even play 500, and now the expectations are so much higher, and that's great.
1 ball, 2 strikes the count to Brian Friday. Back toward the middle. Ooh, off the hand of Perez. And he was looking right down at that hand as soon as the ball trickled away. Oh, boy. He just couldn't get that hand out of the way.
Nope.
Well, we have seen that a couple of times now this spring, not only with the Phillies, with Roy Oswalt getting hit by Manny Ramirez, but with others as well. Oh boy, he's in pain right now. Mark Anderson, the Phillies athletic trainer, immediately came out. Rich Doobie's out there as well. And they're going to bring somebody else in from the pen. Bastardo had just started to get up, so Antonio's going to come in, and he'll get as much time as he needs to loosen up, and Perez will leave, and he's not even squeezing that hand right now as he's walking off with Mark Anderson. So this is what has forced the pitching change here at Citizens Bank Park right back to the box. Man, he was shaking his hand almost immediately. It's almost as if he was looking at his nail. Yeah, Wills, it's tough to say. I don't know if it hit his thumb, if it hit his index finger.
It almost looked on that side shot there that it was a thumb shot.
Yep.
But we don't know. Well, another left-hander will come in, and Antonio will get as much time as necessary to warm up, and we'll be right back.
Pirates spring training matchup, plus a preview of the Sixers-Rockets game and tomorrow's Flyers-Thrashers matchup. Get all the news Philly fans need to know on Sports Night, presented by Toyota. Tonight at 10 only on Comcast Sportsnet. Antonio Bastardo is the new pitcher for the Phillies. He'll come on with 2 outs here in the top of the ninth with the Phillies down 4-1. 2 runners on, and he's in because Juan Perez just got hit with a line drive. Look at this, right back off his hand. And he started shaking his hand almost immediately, looking at, well, what we think is his thumb, because you can see, Wheels, the nail on that thumb is sticking up. That's great camera work.
Yeah, it was a great replay we had. We set from the side there, and it looked like a thumb shot, and now obviously it was right off the thumb there. So, you know, hopefully just got a little bruise, and they can cut that nail off, and, you know, be all right in a few days and be able to go out and pitch. That was a bullet right back at him.
So Bastardo will take over. Antonio said a pretty good spring.
Yeah, and he has to make sure he's ready right now, too. You know, there's no rush. You know, sometimes a guy will say he's ready before he is because they don't want to hold the game up and all. He is a relief pitcher who can get ready quicker than, say, a starter that would have to come in this situation. But you don't want these guys to rush themselves. And he says he's ready to go.
So he'll face Sterling Marte. And Marte, right-handed hitter, will be up there with runners on first and third. Starling Marte. And Bastardo's ahead, no balls and 1 strike. The way things are laid out now, J.C. Romero and Antonio Bastardo will be the 2 lefties out of the pen for the Phillies to start the year. And it's good to have 2 left-handers. You look at this Pirates team, they only have 2 lefties overall. They've not only Paul Maholm, one of their starting pitchers, but Garrett Olson, a relief pitcher. But if you look at all the National League East teams, you see Harrison at third and Friday over at first. And if you look at all these National League East teams, most of them have 2 lefties out of the pen to compensate for the Phillies' left-handed hitters. Over toward third, and Orr takes it on the big hop, and the side is retired. So the Pirates do get a run on 3 hits. They leave a couple. One last chance for the Phillies here in spring training, down 4-1. It's opening day against the Astros. That's a 105 first pitch. Will be on PHL 17 beginning with a pregame show at 12:30. And then on Saturday night at 7 o'clock, the Comcast Network. PHL 17 again on Sunday. The off day on Monday. Then the Mets are in town for 3 games, and it winds down on Thursday the 7th. It's a Citizens Bank Business Person special on Comcast Sportsnet. So it all begins for real on Friday afternoon. Jared Hughes is the new pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Last year, Hughes pitched in 30 games, made 23 starts. You see the numbers right there. 12-8, a 4.42 earned run average. Played for the Altoona Curve, Wheels, which is in Western PA, and they've got a big old roller coaster outside their right field wall. Nice looking ballpark. They came into the Eastern League along with the Erie Seawolves several years back.
You know why they call the curve?
Because of the, well, it's because of the trains.
Right.
The locomotives out there.
Goes around the mountain out there in a curve into the city of Altoona.
Not too many ballparks have a roller coaster, though.
No.
Here's Ross Blow to lead it off for the Phillies.
Phillies, when they used to play in, I remember some old films we had when NFL Films did our highlight film back in the 70s, and they had a shot of Larry Christensen at Toledo, and there was a Ferris wheel in the background. So I guess the Mud Hens must have an amusement park, or at one time had an amusement park outside their ballpark.
I was at the old ballpark in Ohio. I don't remember that, but maybe they did at one point. Yeah.
Or maybe the fair was in town that night.
Well, outside of the Altoona Curves ballpark is Lakemont Park. And that's where the roller coaster is housed.
Did you go on it?
I never went on it, but I would have to think it's rather distracting.
Is it the Tower of Terror again?
It is not the Tower of Terror or the Rock and Roller Coaster.
Can't imagine going on anything called Tower of Terror.
We'll make a broadcaster's road trip next spring.
Good, I'll buy you the ticket.
2-0 the count to Ibanez.
That was at Disney, right?
That was at Hollywood Studios on the Walt Disney grounds. Raul hits it hard. He's played the entire game. And 2 away here in the 9th. So Dane Sardina will get an at bat here in the bottom of the 9th.
And as they say, if this is the final out, this is the one they've been waiting for. Because this ends this part of the season. And let's go. Let's get started on Friday.
Yeah, an off day tomorrow for the Phillies and the Pirates. Now, Major League Baseball's opening day does kick off tomorrow.
Yep.
In fact, there are a number of games that are being played tomorrow. And the scoreboard out in right field is littered with games that are finishing up today or have finished up today around Major League Baseball. Down in Florida. I don't think there are any in Arizona. Maybe there are. I know the A's and the Giants were playing out in the Bay Area, which is what they normally do. Red Sox and Astros are playing in Oklahoma City.
Or Chicago playing in Chicago. Oh boy.
Mets and Marlins were playing down in Port St. Lucie, and the Braves and Twins were playing earlier today down in Atlanta. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes to Sardina.
Fans are dressed a little differently in these crowd shots than we had earlier this week.
Outside, 2-2. There's some of the shots you're talking about?
Yeah, we didn't have those.
Well, next week, I don't know if we're going to have them here, Wills. Weather's supposed to turn next week.
Yeah, good.
That might not deter you from wearing a scarf, but it might deter from some others. Ponchos, hopefully we don't need those at all this weekend.
Oh, I got a scarf.
3-2 the count. And there's ball 4. So base runner for the Phillies. With 2 outs here in the ninth. Phillies have just 2 hits. 1 in the first, 1 in the 8th. But a walk will give Delwyn Young a chance against his team, his old team. Young grounded out to first, his only time up. And the first pitch in there for strike, and it's 0-1. Oh, coming back to the ballpark today, it was good to see the old crew here.
Yeah.
Everybody back. Charlie O'Gara behind the camera up here. Unit, Carl Graber up here doing stats. Over toward first. Christine Connors, our stage manager, back in action, ready to go. Raring to go.
Ready to boss us around all year. direct us around all year, I should say.
0-2 the count to Young. And the pitch. Another ground ball foul. I think the fans have had a good time this week with this on-deck series, with everything that's been going on. They've gotten a chance to see the players in a different light. The players have been unbelievable. The coaching staff has been unbelievable. And it's, you know, kind of the culmination for what has been a very good spring for the fans, because we have seen guys sign autographs at length down at Bright House Field.
Well, they tried. You know, they really did. They tried to go out of their way to do some things. And, you know, you can't accommodate everybody. But, you know, they did. They really, really gave it an effort this year. And you know, the crowds were just so amazing down there all spring.
Well, hats off to, you know, to everybody. I mean, the crowds the last 2 days here, certainly a credit to the Phillies fans. Young hits it hard. Pierce stays down at it, and that is going to be spring training, folks. Not only the games down in Florida, but the 2 games here in the on-deck series. It's time to go to work for Roy Halladay and the Phillies after the off day tomorrow, opening day on Friday afternoon here at Citizens Bank Park. So now the page has been turned. The 2011 season is upon us. Phillies lose today 4-1. We'll be back after this.